Good morning, everyone. Good day. Such a pleasure to be with you again and to share God's word with you. The Lenten season is creeping up on us very slowly. I want to repeat a project that I did last year where every day of the Lenten season I send you a short reflection with some sort of practice that is designed to improve our spiritual lives. What is the reading about this weekend? It's about the Beatitudes. Those famous words by Jesus pronounced on the Sermon on the Mount, taken from Matthew chapter 5. And the Beatitudes this weekend introduces us to two, what you might call opposing principles. In Greek it is referred to as the praxi and the ontos. The praxi is the doing, and the ontos is the being. And it is important to understand these two principles in terms of our gospel reading this weekend. The Beatitudes are a list of characteristics which we are expected to acquire if we want to be followers of Christ. These characteristics are not praxi, they are not doing things. They are ontological, they are ways of being. And as I said, it's important to notice there are some people who reduce Christianity to what you might call a to-do list. To be a follower of Christ means that there are certain things that you must do. I remember once someone telling me that in order to be a good Catholic, you must go to confession, go to church, and put your money in the collection basket. Those are the three things that you need to do, and that's it. This weekend, Jesus says something that is quite different. The Beatitudes say something that is different. It is not about what you do, it is about who you are. And as I said, the Beatitudes are a list of these characteristics that we are expected to acquire and to take seriously. There are lots of characteristics that people emphasize today, but these particular ones are mentioned by Jesus as being all important. Now, these Beatitudes revolve around three, I think. One is being merciful. Number two, being a person of peace. And number three, being humble. They all sound very simple, but when you examine them carefully, you would realize how difficult they are to acquire. Being merciful assumes that you are a person who is quick to forgive. You don't hold on to grudges. I remember a guy I worked with who had the uncanny ability to argue with you very fiercely and say the most horrible things during the argument. He would call you stupid. What you're saying is absolute rubbish. I totally disagree with you. And then after the meeting, it was as though nothing ever happened. He would ask you, would you like a glass of juice or some water or a cup of coffee? And he would go off and get it for you. That is being merciful. Being humble assumes that you have the ability to recognize that sometimes you need to keep your mouth shut and listen to what someone else has to say. That you don't know everything, and that there are some people who might be better at you at certain things. And being a man of peace means that you are willing to compromise and not have it your way all the time, that you need to defer to people sometimes, and that you don't always have to win. It comes down to what St. Paul refers to as clothing yourself with Christ in Galatians chapter 3 verse 27. We use the same expression in our in our baptism ceremony. When the priest says, after the baptism, you have put on Christ, and in him you have been baptized. It means that you have clothed yourself with the Lord. It means that when you look in the mirror, as a baptized Catholic, you are supposed to see Christ. Ask yourself, when I look in the mirror, do I see Christ? It all boils down to the question of who are you? And the place where people talk most about who we are is at funerals. We love to talk about the deceased. Mr. Smith was kind. He was a very generous person. He had a sense of humor. Of course, at some funerals, there should be no eulogy. Sometimes as a priest, when I know the deceased well, and the eulogy is completely untrue, my blood pressure goes up. I get sick to the stomach. I get a headache and I feel like throwing up. Because you know that the person was not like that at all. If you were to pass away, what would they say about you? Who are you? That is the ontological question that Christ puts to us today. Are you a person of peace? Are you quick to forgive? And are you humble? Sometimes, honestly, I don't see these characteristics in me. I do lots of good things. My praxis is good, but my ontos needs a lot of work. Have a great weekend, everyone. God bless you all.